it's so important. So we're going to continue to make some steady progress in its restoration. The first floor, for example, we want to create a one-stop shop where financial aid and the bursar and the registrar are all together so that students are more efficiently served instead of making them run from one room, one building to another in order to have their needs met. We need to do work on the chapel, the envelope of the chapel, drainage and repointing and safe. And there's one more project I'm forgetting, but we do a lot. We need to start making progress in the library. So we have also going to have a goal of about $1.5 million to save the envelope of the library. It needs new windows. Any building after 40 years, like some of us, shows its age. And it needs a lot of work for it. And the library has changed a lot. So gradually after that, we can repurpose the interior spaces to make sure that it's reflecting the best of contemporary librarianship and that the space is used appropriately, because it needs to be a magnet to attract students so that you can help them know the difference between Wikipedia and a scholarly source. It's not enough to have access, you have to be able to really coach them on the use of material. So all of that, I'm rambling now, I'm sorry, but all of that helps to suggest what the college is trying to do. The biggest part of the capital campaign will be for endowment financial aid. The college must grow its endowment. I'm proud that the college has gone from a negative number at the beginning of this century to this July we will have over $13 million in endowment, which is a lot of progress in a short period of time, but that's still really small. So the bulk of the next capital campaign will be for scholarship assistance. And there's a lot of national discussion. And the college in some ways is a leader in trying to make higher education affordable. It's basic to what we are. And this fall we're going to do some additional, I think, pretty dramatic things to highlight how much we work to make college affordable. But financial aid is essential. It does cost a lot to get an education. So if you reduce everything to the most basic cost that nobody's been able to find a good way to get below, and the states that charge that for tuition for state institutions, no matter what, no one has been able to identify a way to do it well at less than about $30,000 a year. Nobody. And not is already identified as as a low charging institution. But when you look at it, and if people are ending up on average having to pay at least $30,000 a year, what does a family need as an income in order to be able to afford it? Financial aid is essential, absolutely essential, to preserve the American dream. Because what sets this country apart is our belief that every human being every human being is sacred. Every human being is precious in the eyes of God. And every human being deserves a chance. And that's what we do. I was listening on the radio on the way up about D-Day. And everybody in this room, brother, a father, and a father, who willingly And that willingness to sacrifice is sacred. It's precious. War is not. We sanctify wars because of the virtue of people who are willing to give everything and do. But wars are failure. When we talk about innocent death, which of those boys on D-Day who died on either side was not innocent? Each of them was willing to sacrifice themselves. And every nation, whether right or wrong, looks back and tries to justify that slaughter by making the war itself, not just those who and the whole thing makes it more bearable for us in our shared memories. And it makes it more bearable for mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers and time. But there's another side to that equation. We are willing to have too often asked men and women to risk everything and sacrifice themselves for us. But there's an opposite side of that equation is we owe women and men coming of age something too. Not just as payback for the willingness to sacrifice their lives, but because we can, because we have the ability to do it. We owe them the opportunity to thrive and serve. We as a nation, we as a school, owe kids the kinds of opportunities that every one of us had by virtue of the fact that we are in this room. It's really, really important. And you can be proud that your college works very hard to make that obligation, to fulfill that obligation, and to fulfill it well. It's a human obligation to help each other. And this college does it better than any place on earth. Here, it means you have a sense of appreciation and pride. And I want to thank you for that. And I want to thank you for helping to make this work still possible. Because I actually really don't think there's anything more important. And I'm happy to answer your questions. No, we don't. We don't lose out on them because. Oh, the question is, as a Catholic college, do we lose out on a lot of government grants from them? No, because the college is a Catholic college, but it is technically independent. It's a Catholic college, but it is not under the control of a church, our church, and that distinction comes with some special obligations. But it also makes us eligible and our students eligible for forms of assistance that we wouldn't if we were under the control of a church.
Dr. Flynn, what is the size of the student body?
Right now we have around 1,400 full-time undergraduates and in the undergraduate college, and we have a separate school called the School of Professional and Graduate Studies where we have about 150, the number of students, if you took the fractions and put them together, we have about 150 to 200 students. That separate school offers master's programs, and it offers adult programs serving people who've already graduated from college and want to come back for a second degree in nursing or something like that. And we keep that separate because the needs of those students differ, and because we don't want the college to lose its focus in the undergraduate college. So we're trying to serve those people sort of separately because we can do it profitably, but we want to preserve the undergraduate college as the kind of experience that we think about when we think about the Mount. So we want to grow that program too, and our long-term goal is to grow that to about 500. Yes? Yes. Yes. Well, there is a master plan we came up with the Sisters of Charity that we're going to update, and there are a couple of possible sites, one on this side of campus and one behind behind Founders Hall, sort of tucked in there. But we still have to have the conversations with the Sisters of Charity to finalize the location.
Could you repeat that?
Where the next residence hall will go. And this side, it would either be on that parking lot or right here. And the problem with this side of campus is public regulations and the number of parking places and whether we would have to build a parking garage too, and that would be really ugly. So there are lots of considerations in place.
What's going to happen to Marriott?
Marriott's half done, or largely done. Marriott's, we've done a lot of renovation in there. And actually, there is no alum old enough to remember when the plumbing didn't have to be replaced. but we've replaced all the plumbing. We've updated the heating system, so now it's not either blisteringly hot or frigidly cold. We replaced the windows. We have a new fire alarm system. We still have to extend, there's sprinklers in part of the building, we still have to extend that to the whole building. We've updated the boiler, but we need to not only have rewired it, which we have, but we need to replace the electrical service to the building, which is expensive. So we're about halfway through the renovation of Marriott.
What is your percentage of boarders?
Our percentage of boarders is about 54%. And long term, when we're at 1,800, we think it should be more like 66%. If you're going to be able to recruit, you know, when we were in college, it was possible to get across the Bronx. And it was even possible to come from Queens. But the territory gets smaller and smaller, and if we're going to grow, we have to grow more residential.
I have a question. When you gave the estimate of what it costs to come to the college, does that include boarding?
Yes.
So
30,000.
About 30,000 including boarding.
So I met a young woman in the restroom last night, and I asked her what it cost her, and she said 44,000.
That's the sticker. She might be one of the very few students who is paying that sticker price.
You know how much it was a week?
$1.25.
About 1,600 freshman year. Wow.
But remember, after this student who came to this college got a big scholarship, and it was called the Sisters of Charity, who gave their lives to this. The Sisters of Charity subsidized every student who came here by giving their work and their time and their lives and not getting paid for it. So all of our alums should remember that when we talk about what it costs and what making it available to the next generation requires. It will be either we have a couple of different sites and we're not sure which one it will be on yet. Yes?
But we implement the schools that are separate. We all, I think all go into the area. in our senior year, and then our senior year came and we went to the married. So, I know I personally know one way. So now that it's made a term, I'm going to set a request that our 45th and 50th reunion,
That may well be possible depending on the work that needs to be done that year, but I promise if you continue that trend that you will be in there. She was asking if I would promise that at their 50th reunion, the class of 74 could be married. This is why my job is hard. That was exactly why my job is
Those of us in the class of 49, we lived in the days of the Sisters of Charity, Sister Catherine Marie, and the tremendous feeling that we got about what life is all about, reaching out to help others. Although it was very difficult for us at the time to appreciate, I can tell you that 65 years of school later, we do appreciate it. And what I really want to say is that we all, whatever year we graduate, we have this feeling of really togetherness and love for what we've gotten in college. And our president has done so much in a very reasonably short time to continue with the devotion, spirit of appreciation, of love, reaching out to educate. Thank you, Dr. Flynn.